Hello everyone, welcome to Learn Data Structures and Algorithm in Python course. In today's lecture, we'll be solving some interesting problem on string. So let's start. Let's look at our first question. What is our first question? It is telling that you have to write a program to check if a string is palindrome or not. Now first let's try to understand what is a palindrome string. When a string is called palindrome, let's say we assume a string, let's say A, B, C, D, E. Now, a string will be called palindromic string when we reverse the string, C, B, A. Then the reverse string and the original string will look same. Now tell me here, this string and this reverse string are looking same. No, right? Now, if we consider, let's say, Malayalam. Okay. Now, if we reverse this, what it will happen? So the last will be in the first, then A, then A, then A, then Y, A, L, A, A. Now you can see the actual string and the reverse string are basically same. All the characters, if we try to access the character at 0 in original string and in reverse string, you can say those are basically same. And if we try to access the middle element, then also this character are same. So this is basically palindromic string. Means when we reverse the string, that original string and reverse string, if they look same, then the string is called palindrome. So here you can see this ABCBA. If we reverse the string, it will become ABCBA, means same. Then we can call it as palindrome. Then let's take Python. Now if we reverse this string, so NOHTYP, then you can see this is not a palindromic substring, right? So that is basically palindrome. Now how to check it? Now the one thing, the brute force solution came into mind could be, suppose you will be given a string, let's say A, B, C. The first thing could be you have to reverse the string, right? Let's say C, B, A. So this is the actual original string, this is the reverse string. Now what you have to do? Now you will be comparing them. You will be comparing this ABC with this reversed one, BCA. And how do we compare? We compare them using double equal to sign. If those two are equal, then we can say this is a palindromic string. Otherwise, we'll tell that this is not a palindromic string. Now, how to do that? First, to create reverse string, we have to write str of, then slice, then -1. Then we'll compare. Let's say we store it in ref string. Okay, then what we'll do, we'll compare str with this register. Now if this is true, then we can call it as palindromic substring or palindromic string. Then if it is false, then we call it is not a palindrome, right? Now this is the brute force solution. Now what else we could do? Let's take, now let's try to understand. Let's take this string. uh, let's name it as, okay. Now let's put the index there. So first index would be 0, then it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Means if you observe carefully in this string, you can notice that the first, the the character at the first and character at the last, they are basically same. Means character at 0 and character at n minus 1, those are basically same, right? Now similarly, character at 1, character at 1, and character at n minus 1 minus 1, that are basically same. Now same, this condition is valid for only for palindromic string. Now if we take, let's say, this one, now at index 2 and at index n minus 1 minus 2, those are basically same. And similarly for index 3 and at index n minus 1 minus 3, that is basically same. Can you relate? We have solved a similar problem in array, right? So what we have to do, we have to check at index the character, the char at index 0 is equals to index n minus 1 minus 0, like that. Then what will be the condition? The condition will be like if we take str of I, then if str of I equals to str of n minus 1 minus I, until then we'll perform this operation. Now suppose at certain point we see that this is not equal, so str of I is not equals to str of n minus 1 minus I, then is it possible to say that this is a palindromic substring? No, right? Because to make the string palindrome, we have to satisfy this condition. It has to satisfy this condition for each index. For each index, it has to satisfy this, right? Now let's see how we can write the program for this. Now first, what we'll do? We'll divide this array by two part, right? We'll divide this array by two part, and we'll only run the for loop from 0 to n float divided by 2, that we have already seen in the previous videos. So first we have to write a for loop for I will be ranging from 0 to n float divided by 2. Then for each I, what we'll check if in any point, let's say str of I not equals to str of n minus 1 minus I, at any point if we find that these two characters, when we compare them at any point, if we see that these two characters are not equal, then we can immediately say that this string is not a palindromic string, right? So if this is not equal, then we can return false, means it will immediately say that this is false and this loop will not be executed. Now let's say we have run through all the loop, through all the characters, all the index. Then if we don't find such a character, those are not equal, then we can definitely say that this is an palindromic string. So we'll return true. So this is the condition. So what we check? We'll first run a for loop from 0 to n divided by 2. Then we'll check for each index n minus 1 of this index, that character, those two character are equal or not. If those are not equal, then we can immediately say that this is not a palindromic substring. Then if those are basically same, then we can say that this is palindromic string. Now let's try to code it. Let's take a string str equals to Malayalam. Okay, we have to write inside this. Okay, now let's try to write a function for this. It's a def. We'll check is palindrome right? Then it will take a string. Then what we'll do first, let's calculate the length of it. So length n will be basically length of str, right? Then, sorry, we'll run a loop for, and I will be ranging from, I'll be in range in float divided by 2. Then we'll check if at any point this, if in any point this str of I is basically not equals to str of in minus 1 minus I, then we can clearly return false. Otherwise, okay, false. Otherwise, we'll return true. So this will return boolean value, true or false. Now let's try to print this. Uh, let's print is palindrome. Okay, then we'll pass the string here. Now let's see. Now you can see this is true. Now if we change the character, let's say m become p, and now if we run this is false. And if we write python and if we try to run this is given false. Now I hope you have understood how we can check if a string is palindrome or not. Now let's look at our next problem. This is basically a Leetcode problem related to palindromic substring. So first let's read the question. You will be given a string. You'll be given a string. You have to return the number of palindromic substring in it. Let's assume this is a string, right? ABC. Now tell me how many substring is possible from this string. It could be A, it could be AB, it could be ABC, it could be B, it could be BC, or it could be C, right? Now, from those, how many strings are palindrome? This single string, this is palindrome. The string containing single character, this is definitely a palindromic substring. Then this is not a palindromic substring. Then this is not a palindrome. This is palindrome. This B is palindrome. This is not a palindrome. And at last, C is palindrome, right? Then, how many palindromic substring are there? There would be 3, right? So the output is 3. Now, if we consider the second string A B A, now how many substring are possible? First, it will be A, then it will be A, then it will be A. So if we consider from this A, then A, then A, right? Then we'll be starting from index number 1. So then what will happen? A, then A, then A, right? So those many substrings are possible from this. Then tell me how many substrings are palindrome here. All are palindrome, right? This is palindrome, this is palindrome, this is palindrome. So there are 6 substring, those are palindrome. Now, how to approach this problem? How to do this? Now, clearly you can see there are 2 steps here. In the first step, we have to create all the substring from this particular string. Then in the next step, what we have to do? For each substring, we have to check that if it is palindrome or not. This is basically the brute force solution, right? So there are 2 steps. In the first step, we have to create the all substring. Then in the second step, for each substring, we have to check this is palindrome or not. And when we decide that this is palindrome, then we can increase the count. We can take a count variable, then we can increment the count, and at last we'll be returning this. Now let's see how we can do this. First, let's take a variable called count and initialize with 0. Then let's take a variable called n, and it will store the length of this string, right? Then to create all substring, what we have to do? We have to run a for loop, and the I will be start from range. In range, I'll be start from 0 to n. Then we'll run another for loop, and that is for j, and that will be j will be ranging from I plus 1 to n plus 1, right? Then what will be the substring in this range? It will be basically s of the start index I, then the end index will be j. So that will be basically the substring. Now we have to check for this substring is palindrome or not. To do that, let's first create a function. Let's say def and name it as is palindrome. Then it will take the string s, and first what we'll do, we'll calculate the length of the string. Let's say n equals to len of s. Then we'll run a for loop for I in range, and range will be from 0 to n float divided by 2. And every time we'll check at any point if that s of I not equals to s of n minus 1 minus I, then what we're gonna do, we'll immediately return this as false, right? And otherwise we'll return this as true. Okay, now let's check for this substring. Now cross this. Now we'll check. How to check? We'll check if is palindrome. If this substring is palindrome, if this substring is palindrome, then what we gonna do, we gonna increment this count. So count plus, sorry, count plus will be 1, right? Now at last we'll be returning this count. Okay, this is the problem. This is basically the brute force solution. Now let's try to run this. uh Length of n, okay, sorry, it's my mistake. Now let's try to run this. What is happening? If is palindrome is of ij. Okay, we have to call like self dot. Now let's try to run this. Now you can see the first test case is passed. So here it is, the output is 3. For the second it is, output will be 6. Now this is the brute force solution. If we try to submit it, definitely it will get TLE. Now let's try to submit it. Later we'll see how we can optimize this problem. Now let's first submit it. It is taking some time. Let's see. Yes, you are getting TLE, right? So you can see one last diskette is remaining. So later we'll see how we can optimize this function. So this is basically, so if you see this input size is very less, that's why it passed basically the 131 test cases, but otherwise it will fail like in 10 or 20 test cases. So that's it for today's video. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.